Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Kate Kelley.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hey, Kate.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's get this show started. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're located, and what you do.
My name is Kate Kelley. I'm with WK Real Estate in Boulder, Colorado. Been licensed next month in January will be 6 years.
Nice.
I specialize in residential sales.
Sweet. So how'd you get into real estate? What'd you do before that?
I was in the restaurant industry for years. So I moved to Colorado from Massachusetts in my early 20s, having no idea what I wanted to do with my life, just wanted to have some fun. But my dad is in construction and my mom's a financial advisor. So growing up, we always stayed in the same hometown, but we had different houses every 2 to 3 years, it felt like. So I realized as I got older, I was kind of obsessed with real estate and houses and contracts and all that stuff. And then after a not so fun experience, when I bought my first house, I was like, all right, that was the last kick in the pants I needed to go get my real estate license.
Nice.
So you kind of always had it in the back of your mind that maybe one day you'd get into real estate?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I wanted to get into real estate in Massachusetts when I lived there, but I was just young and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't even know if I want to live here. So kind of put it off a little bit, trying to pick your career path at 20 or 21 years old is a little bit of a challenge.
Yep.
But
what brought you to Colorado?
I just kind of on a whim. I had one of my best friends was living in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I visited her a couple times and just fell in love with the mountains and the culture and just being outdoors all the time. And I love Jackson, but it felt just a little bit too isolated. So Denver was, just kind of an easy fit. But I had never visited. I just kind of packed up my stuff, found an apartment online, and we're like, yeah, let's see what happens. And it's crazy. It's been 10 years.
I know. That's crazy.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, it's welcomed me with open arms. I did not expect it to be a permanent move. And I think within probably 6 months to a year moving out here, I was like, I am staying. I love this place.
That's awesome.
But growing up, I didn't realize I was had this weird obsession with real estate. So it was I shared my dad's in construction. We couldn't even drive to dinner or drive home from basketball practice. If you saw a framed house, just the studs up, we'd pull over on the side of the road and he'd walk through and I was running through all the studs, and he's like, how many bedrooms does it have? How many bathrooms? Where's the fireplace go? Where's the kitchen sink go?
Getting the full layout.
It's kind of crazy. In hindsight, thinking about my upbringing of we could not even drive by a framed house without him pulling over.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty
awesome.
cool though. It gives you a lot of background in it.
Mm-hmm.
I know recently you went back in November, you went to a convention, right? A real estate convention in San Diego?
Yep.
How
so
did
the
that
National
go?
Association of Realtors. It was really good. Thank you.
Nice.
The National Association of Realtors does 2 big conferences every year. In May, we meet for our legislative meetings in Washington, D.C. And then the annual conference is every fall. So last year, unfortunately, was completely virtual. This year was our first time getting together since fall of 2019.
Oh, cool.
And I think it's 7,500 to 10,000 agents from across the country all go.
Yeah, because it's nationwide, so everyone can go, right? Yeah. That's
awesome.
Yeah. It's a blast. So we have a lot of committee meetings, legislative meetings, meeting with our elected officials, just talking about kind of important housing issues, fair housing, opportunity for other folks to get into the housing market and home ownership. And then a lot of just educational sessions of things that we can bring back to our business in terms of technology or marketing, things of that sort.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know a lot of people have talked about going to the conventions like that, but I haven't actually talked to somebody recently who's gone. I think because of COVID, everything was kind of shut down for a little bit. So that's nice.
And it was comforting that it was in California because, it kind of seems like they've been the strictest with the rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I personally was a little hesitant to go, but once we got there, completely at ease they were very, very careful with kind of making sure that we stayed safe. So
That's awesome.
Kind of backing it up a little bit here with this question. How did you get your first transaction?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, it was somebody in my office.
Okay.
Nice.
So yeah, somebody in my office, he had a client who was interested in a new build, and he was like, new builds are like a totally different beast than the resale market. Like, I want you to kind of co-broker with me and learn the ropes of that. So I was super fortunate to have my first transaction ever be a new build transaction and get
Yeah.
comfortable with working with builders.
That's
Nice.
awesome. How did it go transaction wise? Did it go pretty smoothly?
It did.
Nice.
It tends to be a lot longer. Like a typical resale transaction, at least in
Yeah.
our market, is anywhere from, I'd say, 30 to 45 days, maybe 60 if it's needed. But this particular new build, and really a lot of them in our market, is like you buy it as a lot and then they start building. So
Yeah.
from the time that you go under contract until you actually close and get your keys can be anywhere from 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, because the whole building process. I know lumber went up too, so that probably had a factor in it.
Yes.
A little bit.
Fortunately, it was before the supply chain issues, because that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. But
Yep.
we did encounter that a little bit in 2020 and 2021 for sure.
Nice. What is the worst property you think you've been to? Any of them that stick out to you the most? Maybe you don't want to go back to.
Oh, oh God, I try to like black it out. Any bad ones?
Or the most interesting.
Oh,
Most interesting home.
most interesting.
Or
It's all
showing.
over the place. So it's interesting to see how some people live, because I am
Yeah.
like super type A and like empty out my fridge and clean it regularly, and some people are like, no, I unlock my door and I go to bed with my shoes on. So there's some houses that are just like really unkept that are a
Yes.
little bit shocking. I would say, I don't even want to say the worst, just like funky was one that the lady was running. I say lady because I know the seller was a woman. Sorry. The homeowner was running a dog sitting business out of her basement, but it was like an unfinished basement. So it kind of just was like real eerie. Like she had these like kennels with chain link fence that she had put together in the basement.
Oh my.
And then there was just like a tub in the middle of the room. And like, you think like an unfinished basement, it's just like really a concrete floor and concrete walls. So it was just
Yeah.
like kind of spooky.
Nice. That's crazy. Open concept for the bathroom there, right?
Right.
Yeah, totally. I was like, I don't know if she's like running a dog sitting business out of here. It's like a Dexter sort of basement. What's going on?
Did you end up selling that one?
No.
No.
That's funny. So speaking of that, since we like we're reviewing some of the photos we were taking, and literally like one of the, I think it was like within a week, like we haven't seen this in like a lot, like forever, and all of a sudden in 1 week we saw 2 houses with 2 cages in the basement, like full blown, like you would store something in there.
like a
I
jail
could just feel
cell?
like you would store somebody in there. I was like, oh wow, that was creepy.
Yeah.
I
And you know,
wonder what
like
they
when you
use those
visit some
for.
listings,
Yeah.
how they have like the feature cards hung up. Like you walk in, you look out the back slider, and it's like mountain views on a clear day. I feel like if you see a cage in a basement, like that needs a feature
Yes,
card.
it does.
This is for the unruly dog. Like,
This is for dog.
It just-
Wink. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Further explanation would be appreciated.
Instead
Yes.
of just empty cages randomly in the basement. That look kind of
Totally.
creepy.
Yeah.
Totally.
Crazy. Anyways.
If you could start over today, is there anything that you do differently?
Starting over.
Yeah, knowing all you know now.
Yep. What's one thing you would change?
What would you change?
I would have gotten a mentor or a coach way earlier.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I had some like more seasoned agents who were really good and kind of took me under their wing in terms of like if I had contract questions, I could call them, or if I was in like a tricky negotiation, just kind of running the scenario by them that they would help with. But in terms of like a professional partnership of like, I am paying you to be my mentor or my coach,
Mhm.
definitely would have done that earlier.
How
Nice.
long were you in real estate before you got your coach?
5 years.
Okay.
Too long.
So when you
I
started
just
go ahead.
brought on a coach this year, actually.
Nice.
Mhm.
So when you started out, were you on a team or was it just solo? So were you trying to figure it all on your own, or did you have somebody, at least a team?
Solo.
Nice. So you were going all
Um,
out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Actually, I'd probably put that under the umbrella of mentor or coach.
Yeah.
So either one. If you want to do the independent route, find a mentor or coach, or join a team, because the mentorship and the camaraderie you get on a team is phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you didn't start out with a team, you were solo, but did you get any advice from maybe someone, fellow coworker at some point that has stuck with you?
Yes, stick with it. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take twice as long as you think.
Yeah.
Especially moving from a different state and like being young when I started.
Yeah.
They're like, when you get your real estate license, they're like, make a list of everyone you know. Like, that's your database. And I'm like, everyone I know is like waiting tables, trying to pay off student loans, and then we make cash every night and we go have way too much fun with it. Like, these aren't the demographic of people who are going to be buying a house in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a challenge, like how to creatively and organically like build a database.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you moved states too. So you basically had to start over.
Totally. And you have to keep it authentic, because I think people can see through that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good with kids, so I'm not going to go volunteer at a preschool. But that's somebody else's niche, and they might be able to go like really do something that is personally fulfilling for them while organically growing their business. So I'm like, do whatever you're passionate about and whatever is authentic for you, and the business kind of naturally comes.
Yeah. What is one thing that you did to help you grow your clientele in that database in your new location? Because you were in Massachusetts and then you moved to, so you moved without knowing anybody really in that area.
I got involved with our local association pretty quickly.
Okay.
So the Boulder Area Realtor Association, they do a lot of classes and a lot of volunteer days throughout the year. And I personally always grew up volunteering, so it just was a natural fit for me to be like, yeah, we're going to go clean some senior citizens' yards. Like, I can get down on that. And one of the other gals who I met there, like in hindsight, I didn't even realize she was like past president and like a pretty big deal within our realtor community here. She tapped me on the shoulder and she's like, if you want your career to survive and you want to make it in this business, you have to get involved. So you showing up today is like step one. Like, all right, and kind of took that to heart.
Yeah.
So have just gotten very involved with our YPN group at a local level, gotten involved with the Women's Council of Realtors at a local level and now a national level, which is a natural confidence boost too, because you're starting to get to know the other people in your market and the other people across the country. So now you're growing your referral database, you're growing your reputation here locally, and ultimately just raising the bar for the industry. I think that there's a lot of tunnel vision around real estate, that it has to be hyper competitive. And I think that if we can see it through this lens of more like colleague and camaraderie, we're really better serving all of our clients instead of looking at it through the lens of competition.
Absolutely. Do you have any business books or maybe business podcasts that you've listened to that you could recommend to anybody new starting out in real estate?
Yeah. Atomic Habits is a really good book. Somebody just recommended that to me last year. I really liked it. Ninja Selling with Larry Kendall is a book that somebody actually gifted to me my first year in the business. And then I just went through the training the past year. Those two are really, really good in terms of business and helping with your mindset. I'd say The Color of Law is another really good book for anybody in the real estate industry. That's the history of redlining and racial segregation and how the real estate community was on the wrong side of history for a little bit too long. So that's very insightful as well.
Awesome. Well, before we go today, how can people get a hold of you?
Oh, thanks. My name's Kate Kelley. Again, I'm a Colorado realtor. So my Instagram handle is Colorado Kate the Realtor, or you can find me on Facebook at Caitlin Kelley.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Are these working?
All right.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. I think that worked. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe? What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
it might be there.
It might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah. And red. It's blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah, I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
I don't think this is working.
This is not working.